Coming to her cabin, Vian straight went towards her desk and sat on the chair. She then opened the laptop. She didn't even bother to lock the door. More precisely, she was too disturbed to think about this. While breathing heavily, she opened the laptop. With her clumsily fingers, she started to type in the keyboard. Work. She needed the work done. This was the only way she could cope up. She was so engrossed in her mind that she didn't notice, or more like try to ignore, that her boss was standing beside her while yelling her name. What is this, Vian? How can you leave from my cabin just like that? How dare you disrespect my position? How dare you? He continued to scream at her, not only because she left from his cabin like this, but also because of his bolted up anger against her. He expected some reply from her, he demanded. But she didn't look at him. She did her best to not get his words into her head. With restless eyes, she looked at the laptop screen, which kept showing errors instead of the lines she was typing. You know what, Vian? It had become your habit to leave unannounced. Be it in your personal life or your professional life. You feel you don't owe anyone any explanation, especially me. Always running away. First you will make people habitual to you, make people dream things, make people imagine a life, then suddenly boom, you are not there anymore. You are the type of people who snatch the ladder after making other climb on the tree. Vian's frustration was growing because the laptop screen kept showing error. She was typing again and again to fix it, but all was going in vain. You know what? I will not go from here without getting answers. I will not go unless you tell me why you behave like this now. Why you left me months ago without saying anything. Today I need answers to why did you make me dream a life with you when your plan was to leave me in the middle? Why did you say you were now ready to meet my family, but when I took you to my house you left without any words? Why did you humiliate me like that in front of my family? Why did you block my number without any warning? Why did you ghost me after promising me a lifetime togetherness? Why did you make a fool of my love? What was my fault? Is there any fault at all, Vian? Or you had found another man, better than me, richer than me? I need answers, Vian. Tell me. Don't freaking stay silent. Tell me, damn it. He screamed while slapping the desk. Vian couldn't take it anymore. Neither his screaming nor the errors in the laptop. She abruptly stood up from the chair and, while shutting the laptop with so much force that she were gonna be broken, she threw the files which was on the desk. He got shocked seeing her sudden aggressive actions. His eyes widened seeing the scene in front of him. He stopped yelling. More precisely, his words were cut off by her screaming. What do you wanna know, huh? What? She screamed at him, which for a moment made him speechless. You wanna know why I left from your cabin? Why I left from your life suddenly? Then listen. Listen if you can. She looked deep into Taehyung's eyes. I'm scared of your sister, okay? I'm very scared of your sister. Vian's lips trembled as she said that, whereas Taehyung's eyebrows got knitted hearing her words. It's been almost 10 years since I met her. 10 long years. But still, I'm scared of her. Her face brings back memories she had implanted in me. Her face brings back the nightmares I'm trying to fight each day. Taehyung's eyes were filled with question, whereas hers were with tears. You fear my sister. You might not remember. Why would you after all? You remember Taehyung once I told you I was severely during high school? Taehyung's breathing became faster hearing her as he dreaded her choice of words. Your sister and her whole group was my biggest. Always mocking me, tearing my dress, snatching my food from the canteen, didn't give me any seat in the canteen, always giving me the corner seat in the classroom. Throwing ink on my shirts, not letting anyone talk to me in the class, not letting anyone give me class notes, not letting any student do group projects with me. Do you know how mentally traumatizing it was for a mere 16 years old girl who just got transferred to a new school via scholarship, who was for the first time living in a hostel away from her family? Do you know how lonely, how alone she became that time? How much anxiety she developed over such a short period of time? But guess what? That sister of yours and her whole group wasn't satisfied with only this. They started to physically me. They started to lock me in school washroom, throw dog poop on me, my bags and Violin gripped on the table as she felt as if she was experiencing the incidents again while describing them. And at last, they all took the cats too, who used to visit me on my hostel and stay with me. They took each and every cat I used to pet, my only source of comfort. They all took my cat mile away from me. Tears started to drop from her eyes that time. Taehyung's eyes were too wet hearing her traumatic experience. That was the last nail in the coffin. I became so scared, anxiety, depression, everything crawled inside me so deep that I stopped studying. The girl who liked to read stopped touching her books, stopped calling her parents because she wanted to express so much to them, but each time she tried, she couldn't, as horrible moments were the only thing she could remember. I stopped going to school too. I even tried to unalive myself, Taehyung. I did. His breath hitched hearing her. That day, my parents visited me because I wasn't replying or picking up their calls for more than a week. Only because they visited me that day, they found me attempting. A loud sob left Vine's mouth as she described this, all memories coming back to her mind which she so desperately tried to erase. Where my parents thought my dream of becoming successful would come true after attending this school, where I was left with nothing but self-loathing, anxiety and depression. Can you imagine my parents' state when they saw their only beloved daughter like that? They saw their only daughter lifeless, who had numerous dreams stored in her eyes before coming there, completing high school with flying marks, then get into one of the top universities. Then get a high-paying job, support our family, donate in some orphanage, donate in animal shelter. So many dreams. That 16-year girl didn't even have desire to leave that time. So far gone had those dreams. Her grip on the table tightened as she felt her knees getting weak. It was so difficult to save me that time, so much difficult. I gave up on everything. Maybe because of my parents' willpower and prayers, I got saved. But my academic life, my mental state, my family's peace, everything got ruined. Every freaking thing. Four crucial years of my life 17, 18, 19, 20. All my young adult phase I have spent in my room or hospital instead of studying, passing out high school, getting into university. 4 crucial years of my life. 4. Her lips were trembling badly, whereas tears were flowing from her eyes. I am still not free from that memories. I still get nightmares. And what was my fault in all this? What? That I was a farmer's daughter, that my father wasn't very literate, that I didn't live in 3-stall house, that she choked out those words which made Taehyung painful to breathe. That I was a new transfer student who got into school via scholarship, that my legs were hairy, that I have excessive facial hair and I choose not to remove them. He didn't even know what to say anymore. All those things were so basic, yet none of these were a crime that someone needs to get severely because of these. That I have a mustache like boys, that her knees gave up and she fell on the ground. Why? He moved forward to hold her, but her next words made him froze. Don't you dare touch me, Mr. Kim, don't you dare. You belong to the same family as hers. You have the same flesh as hers. You belong to the family who bought every lawyer and judge when my parents filed case against your sister and her whole group. Instead of punishing them, you all backed them up. You all falsely proved I was the problem. You all proved how I was the one who was lying, how my parents were after all your money. His eyes filled with warm tears. Her every words were true, every single one. He remembered how his sister came crying one day from school, how she was afraid to get punishment because of what she and her friends did with her poor classmate. He remembered how furious his father was after hearing his sister's actions towards her poor classmate, how angry her mother was at his sister, how disgusted he himself was towards her. How his father brutally told his sister Janet that he will not back her up. He needed to get punishment. How he and his mother too stopped talking to Janet, but then seeing Janet's helpless condition, seeing how truly Janet was scared, how viciously she was crying her heart out, they all melted, including Taehyung himself. After all, Janet was the youngest member of their family, everyone's favorite, apple of their eye. They all doted over her. They all couldn't bear a small scratch on Janet's body. So at the end, his father took a promise from Janet that if she did anything like that again in her school or university, his father won't help her again. She had to face the consequences all alone. Janet promised that, and his father did every single thing to clear his beloved daughter's name. That time he didn't care if he was doing wrong with another man's beloved daughter. He just cared about his princess. Though Taehyung was angry with his sister due to her actions, he still didn't stand against his father, against the method by which he was protecting his beloved daughter, because at the end, Taehyung too only cared about his beloved sister. Some other girl that time didn't matter to him more than his sister. He then, just to show his anger towards his sister for her wrongdoing, he started giving cold shoulder to her. After his sister begged him for forgiveness, also promised to him that she would not behave like her past self anymore, he forgave her. He saw the good change in her behavior. He was relieved. After that, days went by, then months, then years went by. Janet never repeated her behavior. Everyone in his family forget about that incident. He wasn't an exception either. He too forgot about that incident and lived his life without any worries or guilt, oblivious to the fact that his life would become upside down due to him saying ignorant that time, due to him prioritizing his sister over an innocent girl. He looked at the same innocent girl he once didn't care for, but now he felt suffocated, thinking why didn't he choose to not stay by his sister's side that time. At that moment, he was in immense amount of guilt seeing that same innocent girl's state. After all, he too was responsible for her misery. Maybe he would never felt this if not that innocent girl became his girlfriend. He would have continued his life like it was before, without any guilt, without any knowledge of how much they had destroyed an innocent girl's mental health. Don't come near me, Taehyung. Your mere presence is making me throw up. I hate your family to infinity for ruining my life, for ruining my parents' daughter's dreams. Because of you people only, I have to work in small company like this. I can't handle too much pressure or too much high-class clout, so I never got the chance to apply for a high-class companies. I cannot handle being with a lot of rich people. So leave from here. Her lips trembled and tears fall from not only her eyes but his eyes too. She was in pain that time. He was too in agony. He fisted his hand which he had forwarded to hold her and brought back it towards his side. He then turned on his heels and came out from the room without saying anything. He couldn't say anything. He felt if he stayed there any more second, he would cause more damage than he already had. So he left. On the other hand, Violin continued to cry her heart out without caring about her surroundings because the haunting nightmares of hers which till now she saw in her dreams was replaying in her mind over and over again. Those scenes weren't leaving her mind. She grabbed her head with both of her hands and yelled while crying, Stop, please, leave from my mind. Stop torturing me. Please, stop. More than a week later. After that incident, Vian went home with much difficulty. She couldn't have any work done as she was found passed out in her cabin. Jimin discovered her there and admitted her in hospital. It wasn't that Jimin stayed office till late night, no. It was Taehyung who told him in the evening asking him to stay in the office until Vian went home. As Taehyung had cut the call upon saying just those words only, Jimin couldn't ask him the details. Oblivious to the conversation between Vian and Taehyung, Jimin assumed maybe Taehyung had scolded too much Vian for her work unnecessarily, due to which she had to do overtime. So Jimin shrugged off his shoulders and decided to work until he saw Vian leaving office. But when, even after being past 11 p.m., she didn't leave, Jimin checked on her and found her unconscious on her cabin floor. For past 1 week, Vian didn't come office. She wasn't hospitalized, but the whole week she preferred to work from home after what happened between the young CEO and her. Jimin didn't disturb Vian after all. Taehyung had already told him about the reason she had left him. Taehyung was way too guilty to even look at her, so neither he visited her during the whole week nor during He was content knowing her family was there beside her to take care of her. Jimin was devastated knowing it was Taehyung's love who was ruined by his family and sister. But he again didn't do anything but to just move on with his life, just like he did years ago, when an innocent girl was getting destroyed by his best friend's sister cruelty. After all, he didn't know the innocent girl personally, so what was the point in getting into mess because of an unknown girl, right? Today, she felt that she was again ready to face everything again, so Wagen came office. Typing on a laptop, Wagen was working on a presentation when she heard a knock on the door. "Come in, it's open." She could hear the cracked sound of the door as it was being opened. She looked up from her desk to saw the person entering her office room. Her eyes became a little wide seeing the young CEO, Taehyung, entering her cabin. "Good morning, Wagen. Good to see you here today," he softly said to her. She, that moment, didn't expect him to say that to her. Nevertheless, she tried to maintain her professionalism. She got up from her chair and bowed at him. "Morning, sir." She kept her gaze lower while bowing at him, which earned her a dark smirk from his side. "Let not address me, sir, anymore. I am better at being a certain someone with whom you dreamed a beautiful life once. But due to some unfortunate circumstance, the dreams won't ever come true." She looked at him. The man in his late 20s weren't wearing a formal suit. Instead, he wore just casual clothes, which definitely was not appropriate for a CEO like him. "I am resigning as a CEO of this company, Wagen. I am no longer your boss." Her lips slightly parted as his words seemed to be bizarre. "I had joined this office solely to talk to you, to confront you about our sudden breakup. I was angry at you. That's why often I used to harshly criticize your work, even if there was no room of improvement." "That's not called criticism, that's called baseless judgments." He nodded his head in acknowledgement. "True, the sudden breakup didn't fit well in my life. I couldn't face you after seeing your sister at your house, after seeing you hugging her, laughing with her. I couldn't gather the courage to talk to you in person. Sure, that time I couldn't understand why you left me, but now, after knowing what you went through, your reason behind leaving me is crystal clear." "You know, Wagen, I joined this company in aim of hearing an apology from you for leaving me suddenly. But see, the irony is I can never say sorry to you even if I try. Because I, my sister, my family, or our apologies can never bring back the youth you lost. We can never compensate for the trauma you went through, still going through. So, goodbye, Wagen, goodbye. Have a great life ahead. Wish you defeat the monsters under your bed and win over your nightmares. May you achieve whatever you had wished to achieve. Goodbye." She was clearly stunned by his words. "Goodbye, Taehyung. Hope we never met again." Taehyung nodded his head and turned around to leave the room. She too sat back on the chair, eyes again on her laptop. But suddenly he stopped. He again looked towards her and asked, Would you have still broken up with me if Janet wasn't my sister? If I didn't belong to the family who destroyed your late teen and new adult?" His question caught her off guard, and she immediately looked at him. "Would you still have left me, Wagen?" There was a brief moment of silence between them, but they refused to look away from each other. You didn't give me any such big problem while we were dating, Taehyung. You were very respectful, considering, caring. So on the basis of our time with each other, I'm sure we would have made our dream of becoming a family true. We would have fulfilled our promises. I would have fulfilled the promises I had made to you, to us. I wouldn't have ended our relation if I didn't get nightmares, if you weren't connected to my past. Taehyung nodded his head while his throat became heavy due to the budding emotions in his heart. If I weren't connected to the past. He looked away from her. She too didn't dare to look at him. Again, silence fell between them. I should leave now. Yeah. She nodded her head. He left from there, whereas she concentrated on her work. Sure that they couldn't fulfill the promises they made with each other, but they didn't break each other any further. Maybe that's how some stories end. Their story as a couple too ended, but their journey as an individual didn't. They still have a lot to overcome, lot to achieve. If Almighty wants, then definitely both will get their peace too. Thank you for watching this. Hopefully see you in my next video.